Was the image of John Kerry sharing a stage with Jane Fonda at an anti-war rally. So this is when Senator Kerry was still trying to get the Democratic nomination for president. And when this image broke, it made the headlines. People were talking about it for weeks. What was interesting about that particular image is that when you look at it, you can't tell that the lighting is different.
The photo looked real, but when Hany used his light direction tool, it revealed a completely different story.
It was absolutely a fake. We were able to detect differences in lighting between John Kerry and Jane Fonda by as much as 30 degrees difference.
Which means, once again, this image was a combination of two photos. Hany's light direction software could determine lighting in 2 dimensions. But he wanted to find a way to work 3-dimensionally. The key was in the eyes.
The eyes are a wonderful thing because they are a partial mirror into the world in which you were photographed.
And we had this idea that you could actually measure properties of the lighting environment from reflections in somebody's eye.
If you look closely at my eyes, what you can probably see is that there must be a light off to my right and slightly above, and it's actually rectangular in shape. And you can see that because of where the white is in my eyes. You can probably see a reflection of that directly in my eye.
Using the geometry of the human eyeball, Hany developed a tool that exposed the position of the subject and the light source in 3D. Armed with his new eyeball software, he was faced with this photo of the American Idol hosts.
The Associated Press was about to run this, and there was something about the photograph that bothered all of us when we saw it.
Once again, Hany's new software confirmed his suspicions.
When we went in and looked at the eyes, we could tell that the light in which each was photographed was completely different. The people who were photographed with 2 lights, we saw 2 dots on their eyes. For the person with the flash, we saw a very small dot in the center of their eyes. And for the other person, we saw a different shape and a different location. And so it was radically different lighting in that cases. And it was clearly a composite of 3 photographs. I think from the point of view of the Associated Press, this is not an appropriate manipulation, and they just didn't publish the photograph.
In this digital age, Hany's new technologies are indispensable. But developing a new field of science is never an easy mission.
When I first got to Dartmouth, my postdoc advisor said to me, I don't think it'll work. And when somebody who's a lot smarter than you says something's not going to work, you better pay attention. If somebody tells me something won't work, I'm more determined than ever to make it work.
Hany's strong will started a long time ago when he was a young boy growing up in Rochester, New York.
I think my grades and my abilities in school were either very good or very, very bad, and there was really nothing in between. There are things that really resonate with me, and I will commit myself to it, and there are other things that I find uninteresting, and I can't for the life of me make it work. And I just couldn't really get myself to do the work. I was like in the slow lane a little bit. My mother called me one day when I was in college. I was, I think, a junior at the time. I still didn't have a major. I was a C student. She read an article in the Time magazine saying computer science is going to be big. She said, you know, you should think about taking a class. And I thought, yeah, right, Mom. Like, what else would I say? But you know what? It sat with me, and I ended up taking a class, and it was great. It was one of the first things that I was actually good at, and it changed my entire life. Listen to your mother.
In less than a decade, Hany has taken his rule-breaking brand of computer science and mathematics and helped pioneer the field of digital forensics. And he's caught the attention of major players along the way. Now Adobe, developer of the software Photoshop, has invited Hany to work with them.
They were interested in collaborating with my lab at Dartmouth, thinking about whether we can transfer that technology into software that could actually be used by law enforcement, media outlets, scientific publishers, to bring some of the techniques that we developed to a broader audience.
Because of Adobe, the use of Hany software is likely to become widespread in the battle against the forgers. Soon, we may all know if what we're looking at is real or fake.
The research that Hany is doing is going to enable people to continue believing what they see.
So in the end, can Hany win against the forgers?
I think the game of forensics is not you stop forgeries. That's an unrealistic and naive goal. What it is you make it increasingly more difficult. I think at the end of the day, the average forger, the 14-year-old in Ohio in his bedroom making forgeries and posting them on the web, they will lose. We will win that game. There is no doubt about it. But if I wanted to play the other side, I will always be able to beat the authentication game. I'll be able to create fakes, but you won't.
Educators and other educational institutions can order this NOVA program for $24.95 plus shipping and handling by calling WGBH Boston Video at 1-800-255-9424. NOVA is a production of WGBH Boston.